Hey there, gorgeous friend. Hope you are doing well. I'm just going to clear the energies a little extra here today. I really want to connect into this energy that we're stepping into right now when it comes to this lunar eclipse in Pisces. Obviously, having strong Pisces in your chart, whether it's your sun, moon, or rising, it's going to offer perhaps a profound moment for you of reckoning and release. So we just want to clear that energy as we get started here, Pisces. But just, to kind of dive in a little more, because I think it's an important part of the energy that we connect into. And sometimes when we're not recognizing what we're feeling, what may be happening around us. So I just want to quickly tap into that, and then I'll get into a bit more of a detailed session for you today. But this eclipse, is signaling a close of a chapter, okay? Things that we've perhaps been carrying unconsciously, what we maybe have avoided, denied, or maybe even idealized. It may come up in the surface and give us some more clarity, So emotions may be high, but it's going to allow us to wash away attachments that no longer belong to who we are or to who we're becoming, right? I think at the end of the day. So this is about allowing. And because it's in axis with Virgo, it does remind us to ground into our rituals and discernment. And with Pisces, it's about the softness that we are, and also allowance of releasing. Now, some things that you may notice is that your intuition and sensitivity may be heightened at this time. So, you may have some downloads, some visions, things that there's this feeling of maybe things that you need to do. There's synchronicities, there's these inner nudges that you may no longer be able to ignore. So instead of analyzing, listen and feel. This is a really good time to listen and feel, okay? Because your intuition is so powerful, and you know that. And your intuition reveals things to you and helps you shape your life forward, And I think the other thing is you may feel quite a cleansing sensation. Full moon is about release, as we know that. But it's also emotionally cathartic, which I really, really love. So it's okay, go ground yourself, go do things that make you feel good, that get your energy into, I think, a moment, yes, of release, but then owning it, what you're claiming back in. So you may want to meditate, you may want to go for a walk, get into nature. An ocean swim is great, salt water, very, very cleansing. But I think the other thing to remember too is the way that you speak to yourself, because that also has a significant impact. So just be intentional with your language and choose honesty over criticism, okay? I think is also a big one. You may want to journal as well. Things, what are you ready to dissolve? What are you ready to let go? What have you resisted? And note anything that may come through in your dreams or intuition or synchronicities. I think that would be kind of cool when you reflect back on that. And a big one, as I'll always say, is about letting go or softening control and allow more flow, or areas that you may feel that you take a bit of a stronghold in and that you can allow more flow. And if there is a story or a person, maybe it's even yourself, that you may need to forgive. Forgiveness is always for oneself, not for somebody else. But, and what freedom that will bring you, okay? So they're just some little themes here right now. So let's get into it. You may want to listen to that over again, because your relationships are going to be quite strong, on point. Your intuition, in addition to some of you, especially if it's in your rising sign, a lot on how you identify in this world and where you want to be, where you want to become. And it also has a lot to do with our relationships as well. So the connection pieces to what relationships have done for you or are doing for you. Like, what value are you getting out of those relationships? How are those relationships making you feel? How is your relationship with self and the things that you're doing feel, right? So there is a lot there. But, it may be really gentle for you. It doesn't have to be this big, intense thing, but you may feel a lot. You may recognize certain things that you haven't before, or just notice certain things are falling away, not apart, away. And that's a great thing. You might find you're starting new jobs, you're connecting to new people. It's all really wonderful. So what I want to have a look here today is let's connect into the lessons of the eclipse. So let's first get into the lessons of the eclipse and season here. So first up, we've got lovers. So our relationship, okay? Our connections, our choices, our partnerships, where things are in balance, where things are maybe not. And we've got the Queen of Wands. Now, if the Queen of Wands represents you, your energy, I'm just going to pull one more because there's something that I wanted to connect into for a moment. Because some of you could be questioning something here. Now, I'm getting two different messages, so I'm just going to share what comes through on, I feel like this is part of the lesson of perhaps more realization, okay, more than anything here with this full moon eclipse. What I feel this is more asking us of here, I'm just going to strain that a little bit, I feel is in your relationships, whether you're in a current dynamic in love or have some form of partnership, whatever this lover's energy or who this can represent, and maybe this is your whole self of where you want to be next or the choices that you're making in your life. What makes you feel energized, creative, focused, sexy? Where do you feel that energy? And are the things that you're doing today in alignment with that? Because it looks like here that there's something that's made you feel uncertain, whether this is about yourself or some connection. And I feel like for some of you, you've sacrificed a lot in your life, maybe to create some balance, or maybe in the hope of that. Maybe you haven't followed through in a certain sense of something that you really want, again, perhaps to satisfy others, or maybe you just haven't had the full drive and motivation to do that. Maybe there's been a lot of distractions that have been pulling down your energy. And I just feel right now there is potentially for some of you a choice, and this is going to be specific for some of you only. So again, only take what resonates here. For some of you, there could be another energy or a third party energy around your relationship that could be interfering, or could be something that you have this intuition about that you may be choosing to ignore and not sure what to do with it. Because sometimes on the other side with that, there's this recognition of when we do have to see it, when we do have to witness it, and when we do have to admit it to ourselves, what comes with that. But there's something here that underneath there is this sadness, this heaviness, not necessarily regret, but, personally, I don't like to have regrets in life. Could I have done things better in some areas of my life? Absolutely. I rather look at it like that than a regret. But, maybe there is parts of you that you feel like certain areas of your life you're just sitting in and just keep going day by day. But those day by days turn into months, turn into years, and you're still either in the same place and have conditioned yourself to accept what is, when it's not really ultimately how you potentially want to feel, or where you should have to hold back, or where you should have to constantly reflect on your life because something is not satisfying or something is not true to you. And I feel like this is a big part of what's happening in this eclipse season right now. And perhaps what is coming more to light, or what's hitting you maybe a little firmer, a little harder for you to acknowledge and recognize. What is your happy? Because there's something here in some equation, in some dynamic that is seeking change. But with that change, I feel there is naturally a sense of loss or a sense of disappointment. But can we get to the greater side of what can become when we acknowledge these parts of ourselves, or this next chapter? Because I feel like this is a big part to some form of relationship dynamic or partnership, or where you feel called from a soul aspect when it comes to the Lovers, right? That's about unity, balance, relationships, partnership, your choices. So either you may not be feeling alive, desired, or feel, invigorated in some connection, or there's a connection around you that is making you question the sanctity and the truth behind a situation as well. So that just seems to be coming on through, okay? So again, take what resonates here for you right now. And maybe too, there's some part of self-acceptance if you don't have or aren't in partnership with, a romantic partnership, and there's this part of you that is, fully satisfied with where you're at. I think that's wonderful, But I also feel for some of you, there could still be this part of, why is it so hard to meet someone? You want to potentially be fully yourself, and perhaps, people that you meet, because you are powerful, because you are the light, maybe you feel this judgment of attracting the wrong person, or they don't see your true value or true self. And I think, again, there's something here about expanding and awakening a certain part of you with such self-love and the word I'm hearing actually is charisma, because I think that's something you really bring to all that you are. So there could be, little parts here that are stirring up about that component as well. Let's just take a peek of the current energy for you. We've got the Magician. We've got the Judgment. And I'm also going to reflect on how this is tying into the lesson here, okay? We've got the Three of Pentacles. And the Tower. I've just got the Page of Swords underneath, so just take a peek there. So there is something that I feel you're concentrating on, you're calling in, you're wanting to connect to right now. And that could come in many different retrospects of your life, Pisces. I feel like there is something that perhaps you want to do or want to put out into the world or want to create, okay? Because the Magician is a creative energy. It's like they can cast their own things out into the world. So you have a lot of talent, you have a lot of skills, you have a lot of abilities. And I think too, amongst that, you have a lot of restraint, but also in restraint, there is this part, I know that you know how to let go when you need to let go. And I also know that you're very assertive when you need to be. And if you're finding it challenging to step into those parts of you, I feel like this could be, again, the part that you get to experience or reflect on. For some of you, you could be, really wanting to connect into a new partnership of some kind. For some of you, this can be work-related or working on a certain project or something of this nature. What's interesting with this Queen of Wands, we do have the Judgment sitting underneath when it comes to the current energy. The Judgment, again, is about choice or about a decision or someone coming to a realization here. So I feel like there is definitely something at this point in time that you're going to come into realization of. Again, this could be about self or could be about another party. But also what you want to do, where you want to be, what matters to you. But there's some freedom in it, okay? There's definitely some freedom in it here. In terms of the Hanged Man, you have the Three of Pentacles. So there is something here about realistically what's coming together, what's working together, what are people doing? Because this is Three of Pentacles is not singular. It's usually a collaboration, a community or a communion of some kind where people are choosing to work on something together. Everyone's pitching in. There's a foundation, there's a shared goal, there's a shared vision, and I think that is something here that there is reflection on right now in the energy and where part of this realization may need to be. If you did take off that veil, if you did take off those potential in this energy, sometimes the rose-colored glasses can come off. And maybe that's also something that needs to happen or occur, because I feel you might be surprising someone with what you choose to do next. With this Tower energy, it's like the hard stuff, the heaviness, the lack of clarity. I feel like that's all falling away for you. I think there's this part of you that you do know where you want to be. You do know what you want to work on. But somewhere along the line, it's like you feel you may be leaving a trail of disappointment to someone or for yourself. Let's have a peek further at the challenge, and then we'll get you some advice and dive a little bit further. Let's just have a look at the challenge here. 5 of Pentacles. King of Cups. The Empress energy. And the 2 of Pentacles. It seems naturally there is a strong desire here, Pisces, okay? A strong desire to not feel there's not enough, to not feel that you're not worthy, to I feel this comes in a few parts, because as I'm connecting to this energy, it's like it's coming up into my throat. And I'm taking that in a couple of different ways. I feel like there's things that perhaps you want to voice, but I think there's parts of you, like you may stuff down certain things or not take on certain things, sometimes because you feel that's just the easiest thing to do based on certain situation or circumstance. But I do feel for some of you that this is about getting back on top of your finances, getting back on top of, again, this sense of security of yourself, that you can do this, that you're able, that you can awaken these parts of your life and feels like turning the tables where you've been met with some form of loss or depletion in some kind. Because I feel like there's a turning point here. Even though this is coming up as a challenge, I feel there's a turning point. Because whatever it is, the challenging aspect is when you're sometimes, too, like you might love a certain job or a certain role or enjoy doing something that generates an income, but sometimes it may not be enough. Or a certain industry that you're in, you find that the income, like example, teachers, I know especially in, most places, I know in Australia, I know in the US, there can be, sometimes it's one of the least earning roles and a very rewarding role at the same time, right? So balancing that, working through that, identifying those parts of you on what you do love. But I do feel for a lot of you, this is also about wanting to be loved, wanting to be nurtured. And it's not that you're not giving it to yourself, because I think you're getting really good at doing that over the years and what you've been through, learning to love yourself, love your environment, loving who you are and what you are becoming, But I think there's also this part that if you're in partnership with someone, whether it's, again, friendship, relationship with a loved one, what are you also receiving? What are you desiring? What are you needing, And I feel like this is a big question mark here for you. A big question mark on either someone in your life or how you're feeling about a certain dynamic. So someone in your life, you could be questioning, are they giving their care or attention or love to something or someone else? And how it's making you feel. But it also could be, are you giving yourself enough in the things that you desire and the things that you focus on the things that you want. And you've put this in question. Maybe you've questioned whether you have everything you need to make this work, to make this come alive. So there's a few different aspects here, but ultimately there is a strong new beginning that wants to show up here for you. But I feel it's still in a little bit of a question or question mark for you. Because something new wants to birth. I feel there's a new opportunity, a new collaboration coming on in. But certain things do take time to expand, to evolve. The Empress, while, it sits in the top of the hierarchy, if you wish to call it, when it comes to the feminine energy of the tarot, there's an aspect here of new creation, of nurturing, but we also know there's an evolution when anything is planted, when anything is seeded, as with birth. So I feel there's some aspect here. Maybe for some of you, it is working and reconnecting with someone in your life. Maybe that's what you're looking at. Maybe you're looking at a certain approach. But there's definitely this sentiment of wanting to work together with someone or with people or on a certain project or something here. And I feel this wants to come alive. But right now, there's been this standstill aspect or standstill moment. So I feel whatever comes in next, the biggest part is going to be where to give your energy to with this Two of Pentacles, how to potentially financially manage something. But I do feel it's a lot on energetically bringing something into balance and bringing something into harmony, because there has been a sense of loss or disappointment or breakthrough. And sometimes with that breakthrough comes the breakdown first. But I feel like there's something very powerful on the other side of these challenges that you're experiencing, is really allowing you to see things and manage things and work with things very, very differently. So I feel this is, a really wonderful thing. Now let's, I just wanted to have a look at here. Four of Swords, Queen of Cups. I don't read reversals, just so you know. And then we've got the Wheel of Fortune underneath. So I feel this is a lot about your own self-care, your own, too, where we sometimes need to withdraw too much we're giving of ourselves. And usually when we need to withdraw and let go of those certain things is when we're people pleasing. We're giving. And I think giving is a wonderful thing. It's nice to give to people and do things for people. I think it's important to recognize at what cost. So I feel like there's a shift where this is now about you, your care, your freedom, your sense of freedom. I feel like you've gone through pretty significant parts of healing. Okay, I feel that's the healing, the big healing part has occurred. Or if you're in a situation that you feel is coming to an end, you've got to a point that you've worked through it already, and just sharing. A lot of the time when a relationship does come to a dissolve or dissolution of some kind, usually a party in the relationship has already worked through all that emotionally. And that could be related to some of you, right? That now it's, how to deal with it or handle it better because you've already done the hurt and the healing in that circumstance, even though you may still physically be there. And that's where I feel this change is coming. And then you do have the Nine of Cups as well. So there's something that is shifting and changing that is really beautiful for you, Pisces, okay? Now I'm going to have a look at what action you need to take, and then I'm going to look at the outcome, okay? At the advice here. So let's have a look at what action you're being asked to take right now. What action? Okay, straight up. We've got the World. And rest and rejuvenate. Interesting. I'm going to get one more. And hostilities. Okay. I think a big part here in terms of the action that you're being asked for right now, this is about being in flow, taking the time you need. It's interesting how when we look at the world and certain part is dark. So if we think of a lunar eclipse energy, I feel this is asking you to be open on what is possible and open to the change that's coming or the change that's awakening, okay? Because either which way, it's going to awaken something in your life. Change can be a really positive thing. Because with this and having the rest and rejuvenation, it's also asking you, when you need to withdraw, pay attention to that. When you feel tired, when you feel drained, when you feel like you need to take care of self, that's an important piece. But I feel this is something you've been fighting for some time, something internally that you've been fighting for some time. And I feel you're being asked to cut or pull back from those things that have been creating that in your life, right? This tension or these difficulties. I really feel you're walking into a pretty powerful chapter here. The way that I'm visualizing the energy right now is, put it this way, it was really interesting. I watched I'm not sure if it was probably on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok that much. But there was this, it was kind of like a study done on, and again, don't take it for man, woman, or whatever. It was just a circumstance, and you'll understand the underlying message. But it was about people who were going through divorce. And each woman had a full makeover done, okay, for themselves. You know, how they wanted to, what made them feel amazing, what made them feel good about themselves. So when they walked into this room, and the way that they showed is when they walked into this room, the difference in their power and the confidence of being able to support the situation in their best self, their highest self. And what it just showed is when you choose to take care of oneself, when you choose to step into that confidence, do the things that make you feel good, and when you're in that higher energy and higher power, and it's again a lot in neurolinguistics, different practices you can do where certain things you do for yourself that you empower, you feel empowered and embody a certain version of you, that it's not fear-based, it's confidence-based. It's your energy oozing out that you know who you are, and you know what you're capable of, and you know that no matter what happens next, you've got you. And that, it was a really powerful video to watch, actually. And also the regret and disappointment of other people when they looked upon when you're at your best self. Because when you're around people or situations that are draining you, it's very hard to maintain being your best self energetically, right? And I feel there's something here about the action needed to really recognize this, where you're putting your time, where you're putting your energy, and the allowance of letting go. Because I really feel like someone here, again, this is not about whether you're a masculine or feminine energy. This is just about you as a person walking into the room and claiming who you are and what you desire and what you want. But it's a knowing, but it's the freedom as well in the knowing that it's interesting. I was going to say about a door, but it's like, no, it's just in the knowing. So it stopped me there. It's just in the knowing. And there's something about this world energy is in the knowing of what you're seeing in front of you and what is becoming in front of you. There's a very strong knowing, but a big piece is cutting out the parts that aren't supporting this care of self. And I think that's a big piece on part of the action that I feel you may be taking overall, because there is some contemplation here. There is some sacrifice. Sacrifice is not a bad thing until you get to a point that you're self-sacrificing to depletion. That's not a good thing. Sometimes we do, figure out a win-win situation, right? But something's really draining you. Something is really making you feel unsatisfied or disappointment or constantly let down. And I feel this is the part of you that you get to explore and dig in a little bit more over this period of time. So let's have a look at the advice here for you, Pisces. What's the advice here? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The angel of strength, your power, your control, your determination, this is, Leo energy is masculine energy, but there's also, when you connect into, think how when they walk around, they prowl around, they're looking, they're understanding their environment. There's also that king of the jungle mentality, right? They may not be the biggest, they may not be the fastest, but there's something that they maintain and the control of it. They're protective, they're supportive, but they also know when they want something, they go after it. There's that fire energy as well. So there's something really about that that's an important piece here for you, okay? To keep maintaining it, do the things that bring that out in you that I think is really important, or go after the things that you really want, But again, it's controlled. It's understanding your environment. And controlled, I mean more like on a emotional front, on a mental front, that controlled, right? Fourth chakra, Archangel Raphael. This talks about your heart chakra, Pisces. And we did, there's a strong relation to relationships right now. A strong component. So I feel as well here, you got the fourth chakra and then man holding a coin. So that's Taurian, Virgo energy as well, and Capricorn. And the axis right now is Pisces, Virgo. We're in Virgo season. So there's something that I feel is awakening here. I feel there's parts of you that you're healing. I feel there's parts of you that is cracking open on a heart front. But again, it's following and leading with your heart in an aspect of where does your truth lie? Where does your soul feel called? And aligning to that parts of yourself that radiates that. What do you love doing? Who do you love being around? What invigorates you? What gets you, motivated each morning? But also the tenderness, the care that comes with that. Because I do feel you have something or someone coming in that is very strong and stable, that's going to be very supportive energetically, potentially for some of you financially. Let's get a little bit more. I want to get a little bit more on this fourth chakra. Wow. Look, I'm telling you, there's something. This is the Hierophant energy, and you got Judgment again. Straight away, I thought of Lover's energy. So there's something here, and that's heart chakra. So there's something here about a commitment and making a choice and decision that's really in front of you right now. Something to be honest with yourself, because you do have the Five of Cups and Five of Pentacles. So something is depleting some area of your life, or is making you question, or putting you in an energy or a situation or circumstance that is taking away versus adding. And I feel that's something that to recognize here, and that could be a big part of a decision-making process. Pardon me. What do we need to know about this man holding a coin? This could be about a partnership, getting into partnership with something, with someone, or a situation, a project, something that you love, something that you're ready to commit to, something that you're ready to follow your heart in. And of course that can be a risk on itself, just leading by heart. But I think lead with all your body, lead with all of you. Your body tells you so much. Your spirit, your energy tells you so much. So keep relying on that. Man holding a coin. Wow. So you've got Four of Wands, the World, the Devil. I don't know what's going on. I think some of you are entering a higher level of commitment with someone or with something. There could be new goals, new ambitions, new desires that are coming in for you, or being asked to be recognized here. You do have the World in terms of action as well. So that's coming through twice. While the World, I know a lot of people just say, oh, there's endings, a cycle's ending. That's great. Let's focus on what's coming in. Let's focus on the success, the reach, the opportunity, because that's what the World is. It's a positive card, okay? It's a positive card. And the energy coming through is one of openness, one of opportunity, it's like reaching out and claiming what you want. It's in the knowing. And that's what this was saying before, the knowing. And I feel, again, there's something coming in that is going to be really good for you. One caveat. Be mindful who you also let in. Maybe you have a partnership right now and it's going strength to strength, okay? But there's something in between that could be, trying to seep in. Let's get a little bit more on this devil energy for us to understand more of what that is. But I feel like there's a little bit, of a strong desire here. Or what has been challenging is moving out to open up new things. The devil. Yeah. So someone could have been working really hard. Someone could be looking at, we've got the King of Wands. Interesting, we have the Queen of Wands. Someone had been carrying potentially some burden. Maybe it's been on a financial front. Maybe it's been on a stability front. But what I feel is happening, I feel like things are strengthening. This is what it feels like. And this can strengthen in terms of a new commitment, in terms of a financial opportunity, a job, a boss, a relationship, okay, at home, or something you're choosing to do. There's strength here. You do have King of Wands energy, Aries, Sag, Leo as well. You've got Gemini energy, Scorpio, Taurus, Sag, and Pisces. Okay. So there's something here about some burden someone could be carrying. But now releasing. Yep. That's it. Someone's releasing something here. So this is good. Because if this is not you, this is all impacting you, okay? Because this reading is about you. Obviously, it's general in nature. But I do feel there is a dynamic or a situation that is here. And Spirit's letting you know this is time to make a commitment to self and what you want. A commitment in knowing who you are and what you subscribe to in life. And I feel whatever is relevant in choices, decisions, knowing, and how you navigate that is a big piece to this. Naturally, as we know, sometimes, Spirit's shoving us to pay attention to something, to look at something, to do something, and we ignore it. And eventually what happens is the whole freaking world caves in. That's what it feels like at the time. I feel right now there could be some surprising elements, things that you're not expecting. But again, they cannot be positive. But either which way, it's going to recalibrate you. And I feel like there's something where people may be opening up their hearts, getting really honest with each other. I feel like there's things, that it's going to the next level for some of you, okay? Maybe career, maybe love, maybe financially. But there's something definitely that's leveling up. But at some point, it had been a concern or had been some form of worry. I feel like that's going away. That's what that feels like. It feels like it's going away, that whatever someone's been carrying here, that's releasing. And you're coming out on top here with the 9 of Cups. So I know this has been a lot and quite, not intense. It just felt like there was a lot of information and depth to this reading for you today. And I really hope that you've gained some support or guidance here on things to consider at this time. As always, be gentle on yourself, Pisces. Have a fabulous weekend, and I look forward to connecting with you Well, it will be probably at the heightened time of the eclipse energy. So we'll see where this all takes us. But remember, the energy is 3 days usually before, and this is carrying for about 2 weeks, plus another 3 days as we get to the solar eclipse in Virgo in a couple of weeks. So yeah, be gentle, much love, and I'll catch you later.